Many thanks to all of my students for joining this class. Today we shall read a very fine poem of John Keats, The Poetry of Earth. John Keats thought that poetry comes naturally like the leaves of trees. Same kind of words we find in Spenser, look in thy heart and write. Keats' poetry didn't come as a spontaneous outburst of uncontrolled emotion. Of all the romantic poets, he was the most finished artist, conscious artist, and romantic artist. Do you know the meaning of the word romantic to poetry? I just tell you something about it. The essence of poetry is really very interesting to us. The essence of romance in poetry is mystery. The woods, the woody dale, the leafy glen, the forest path which leads one knows not whither are romantic. Apart from this, it is the addition of strangeness to beauty. In a word, beauty mystic. Once, lingua Latin was the royal language of Rome, and lingua Romania was spoken there as local language. The simple man spoke in local language. It was known as Romanica. We get the word Romanish from the word Romanica, and the word Romanica comes from Romanish. Language is just like the flow of a river, always goes to the front side, to the forward. In old French, we have find a word romance, which becomes romance in French language, and finally in Spanish it becomes romance. In such a way we have quoted. In our Bengali literature, R.N. Tagore likes John Keats much more than other British poets. As a poet, Keats put his most considered and mature principles into practice in life. He was not a worshipper of nature like William Wordsworth. He was not a reformer like P.B. Shelley. He was out and out a pure poet. To him, a thing of beauty is joy forever. This is the keynote of his poetry. A critic, it seems to be Matthew Arnold, remarks John Keats was number one poet except Shakespeare. Some says he is a master poet except Shakespeare. To John Keats, beauty was the moving principle in his life. A religion of his life. His sensuousness is concerned not only with his eyes, but with all his five senses: smell, taste, touch, sight, and sound. In his depth, we find the expression of nature and her color, scent, touch, and pulsing music, etc. His attention to the nature is really well known to us. It is very, very deep. A line must be mentioned to you to express this. A noiseless noise among the leaves never escapes his attention. Let us see how this happened. Keats doesn't want to be a poet in his life. He wants to be a very, very popular medicine expert, a medicine professional. He came in close contact with his school friend, merely, I call him CQ. That means Charles Cowden Clark, who advises him to read extensively the works of Edmund Spenser and John Milton. And following his advice, he started to read the works of Edmund Spenser and John Milton, and then he started writing poetry very easily. Just we should tell you something about the family background of John Keats. John Keats' mother was a turning point in his life. Once she left the family and she married again. But alas, she came back again. And the return of his mother is really a turning point in Keats' life. But she died of TB. His brother also died of TB. And John Keats also died of the consumption TB. It is a family disease. There was no medicine at that time. Science was failure. Do you know who is the Keats of Bengal? Sukanta Bhattacharya is the Keats of Bengal. Let us enter into the occasion and composition of the poetry of art, a well-known written Petrarchan sonnet composed 30th December 1816. This is an original product of a friendly competition between two friends, Lehunt and John Keats himself. Lehunt was a young editor of a magazine named The Examiner. As per his choice, as per his topic selection and invitation of writing a poem, Keats writes the poem The Poetry of Art, and Keats won the competition very easily. Lehunt commented that it was a perfect poem. Now we shall discuss the title and the theme of the poem, The Poetry of Art. The appropriateness of the title of a literary work, be it a poem or a play, depends on its consistency or the theme. The first lines of the octave and sestive state the theme of the sonnet very clearly, like daylight. There is no end of songs and music in nature. It flows just like the water of river. It flows continuously. Even the cyclic change of nature cannot affect the music and song anymore. Neither the sunny hot sun of summers nor the frosty cold winter can disturb the flow of songs of nature. While songbirds stop their singing and take rest in sunny summers, the grasshopper takes the charge, takes the lead to continue the music. The poetry of earth means the songs of nature. Hence, the title, The Poetry of Earth, is apt, correct, and to the point. I hope you understand the title and the theme of the poem. Let us try to understand something about songs and music at a glance. Men have electropsychological speaker in their throat. There is a good relation between brain and ear. Music is the soul's unconscious exercise in arithmetic. The power of listening is to be acquired. Acquired ability to listen to music intelligently is not same to us, it differs. But here John Keats describes the songbirds, the grasshopper, and the crickets, and not men. So, it is not an easy task. The romantic poet John Keats acquired the ability to listen to music. There are various types of listening ability, listening skill. Passive listening, sensuous listening, emotional listening, and of course, perceptive listening. And this is the topmost method of listening. The sensuousness, perception of nature's beauty and melody makes the sonnet a perfect creation of the romantic poet John Keats. We know this from this poem. Grasshopper is the representative of the sunny summers, and cricket in the same way is the representative of chilly winter, icy winter. Music is an abstract art. It cannot be expressed with pen and brush. A good listener perceived it. And John Keats has really percepted it very much. We find in octave the song of birds takes shelter in a cooling shade and stop singing because they are very, very tired. Because of the sunny hot sun. The form and structure of this Petrarchan sonnet is suitable, is appropriate for developing the theme through fine illustration and contrasted. In the sestet, that is in the second part of the poem, Keats describes a fine picture of a lonely winter, the frost, the silence, the stove, the fireplace, and cricket song suggest that the season is not summer, it is winter, a chilly winter, an icy winter. The cricket, the poet of winter, breaks the icy silence and sings continuously, just like a twilight seeing bird, B-A-R-D, bird, that means the poet. To a person who is in sitting position near the fireplace, because it is winter now, who is half asleep in drowsiness. The cricket's shrill song seems to be the music of the grasshopper singing joyfully among some grassy hills on a summer day. It makes the romantic poet John Keats to believe that the poetry of earth never comes to an end. The voice of birds, grasshopper, and cricket goes on forever. Actually, Keats personifies grasshopper and uses capital G to personify the grasshopper. Besides, Keats usually speaks of the song of nightingale, the skylark, the cuckoo in his poems, in his odes, and William Wordsworth also use the song of the cuckoo in its very famous poem, The Solitary Reaper. The Solitary Reaper starts with a line, "Behold her single in the field, young solitary, highlandless." Here we find that the bird in springtime, Wordsworth describes with his very fine pen, breaking the silence of the seas among the farthest Hebrides. Very fine poem, you know. In the poetry of earth, the song is heard as the teeny grasshopper takes the lead joyfully. He keeps the flow of song of nature afresh. He keeps the flow continuously. When he becomes tired of singing, he takes a rest beneath some pleasant bushes, under the weeds for a moment, but its music is going on as before, from haze to haze. In the meadow, grasshopper is the poet of summer, a bird. B-A-R-D, I have already told you. Thus, John Keats, the famous romantic poet, reads the sonnet, the poetry of earth, through their voices. We find words, expressions such as, for example, birds, faint, Watson, etc., to express the summer season. At the same way, to express the chilly winter, John Keats uses winter evening, the frost, drowsiness, stove, etc. Finally, we get a message from the sonnet, the music. The right pronunciation is music, musico. In nature can never stop. To finish the sonnet, we should remember a memorable line: beauty is truth, truth beauty. In our classical language, we can say it: Sattam, Shivam, Sundaram. John Keats' career as a romantic poet was very brief, was very short. Tragically, it was very limited. Within the 3 years, he retired in Rome after 25th birthday. Most of the aspects have been explained to you here within the limited scope and time. I hope you learned well. Many thanks to all of you. Next we meet again, if God allows. Thanks to all of you.